Hello, true believers. This is Doc Hogg, and welcome to episode 47 of Comics and Variety. If you like this channel, please do subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified when I post new videos, and for the sake of YouTube's search algorithm, please do hit the like button. Okay, before I move on to Demons Volumes 1 and 2, I first want to mention a couple of indie comics that I am backing. The first is Tales from Nerosville, issues 1, 2, and 3, and you can get the hard copies of issues 1, 2, and 3 for only $11. You are not going to beat that deal. These comics are incredibly funny, as I've said before. It is currently raised $800, just over $800 on Indiegogo. Let's see if we can push it to 1,000 by this weekend. The next is College of the Dead by Adam Post, and I want to congratulate Adam for reaching his goal on Indiegogo. Now, when I first gave a promotion to College of the Dead on this channel, it only reached about 60% of its goal. After I give the promotion, it reaches its goal. What else can you say other than this channel has incredible pull with its audience? Anyway, College of the Dead is still available for purchase, and I will provide links to the Indiegogo campaigns of both comic books in the description below. Now, moving on to Demons Volume 1 and 2, written by Tyler Carpenter. After reading these, I am at best, on the fence as to whether or not I want to buy Volume 3 when it becomes available on Indiegogo. So yes, this is not going to be a great review. And giving a bad review to an indie comic is something that I've said before when I gave the bad review to Combat Jack, something that causes me some guilt. But I figured out how to deal with that. I've got my trusty guilt repellent here. So let's get to it. Now, the plot involves a police detective named Ace Carter who, while on a case one night, encounters a demon that leads him on an adventure to hunt down other demons, and while doing so, he discovers a plot involving humans and a cult called the Divine that are trying to summon demons to take over the world. And he teams up with Agent Chloe Waters, who runs a task force that hunts demons called F666. Yeah, I'm not sure if F666, whether that's funny or kind of dumb. Now, one problem here is the plot holes. For example, in this scene here, Ace is shot, and they make it out to look like he's going to die, but all of a sudden he finds the strength to attack a demon, and then he is fine. And how did he regain his strength? We're never told. Maybe it was this guy, John, who is some kind of angel. He just suddenly shows up in the story kind of out of nowhere. There's not even the slightest backstory or where he came from or kind of why he's involved in this story. And another problem is that in Volume 2, we find out that Ace and Chloe have gotten married. And that really doesn't make any sense. Well, I guess it makes sense kind of for how the story goes forward a little bit, but it just kind of hits you out of nowhere. I mean, there was no hint up until this point that they were even in love. You know, a scene or two of affection between them might make the marriage seem plausible, but you know, the book doesn't give us any of that. And the only reason they are married is so that Ace has an excuse to leave her behind as he heads into the final battle in Volume 3. You know, if he didn't love her, he'd have no trouble taking her with him for the final fight. Now, I'll admit that's a good motivation for him going it alone, but there is nothing, there's nothing that makes this marriage seem at all, you know, realistic. And while I'm talking about Volume 2, the title of Volume 2 is Leviathan. And this here is the demon Leviathan. Does that look like a Leviathan to you? In the Bible, Leviathan is this huge sea monster. If you're going to call something Leviathan, it is not supposed to look like a human that needs to eat a sandwich. And speaking of needing to eat a sandwich, sandwich. Here is another plot hole. Leviathan has the ability to make people explode, like he does here with some of the team members of F66. But when he runs into Ace and Chloe, he just toys with them and then casts them aside. You killed some members of F66. Why not kill Ace and Chloe? Well, of course, they're going to play a part in the comic books. They're the main characters, so you can't kill them. But if they're threats, it seems like the sensible thing is to, blow them up. Alrighty, then there's the problem of the main character, Ace. It's never clear what motivates him to want to hunt down the demons. I mean, why does he want to do this? What's driving him? It's never clear. Early on, his dad gets captured by a demon and taken to hell, but Ace is already hunting demons at that point, so that can't be his motivation. It might make sense to move that scene to very early in the comics so that can be Ace's motivation. It would make us care a lot more about the main character than we do, but ultimately we don't care as much because we just don't know what's driving him. What's his motivation to get involved in this Herculean task as it is? And finally, I don't really much like the artwork here. I mean, now this is not bad artwork, and in fact, I think, the artist Travis Martinez is actually pretty talented. The problem is that this is not the right artwork for a comic book about demons, because in this art, he doesn't give us much detail about the characters' faces. The facial features are pretty basic. I mean, the only detail is maybe the expression on the faces. And that does not work, in my opinion, with demons. I mean, demons are supposed to be the ultimate in evil, and that gives the artist a lot of leeway to put a lot of sinister details in the face. Here are some traditional comic book demons. Here, for example, is Mephisto. Here's some, another classic comic book demon. Compare and contrast that to the ones in Demons Volume 1 and 2. I mean, do they look evil? Yeah, but are they really interestingly evil? Not really. Now, there are some pages in here with some demons that actually do have a great deal of detail. Here is one. I think that's actually a really great page. That demon really looks, nasty. But that's the exception. Most of them, there just really isn't any detail in the faces. I just don't think that works when your subject matter is arguably the most evil beings in the universe. Their faces have to be evil, and they have to have a lot of detail showing that. So to sum it up, am I still on the fence? Am I going to purchase Volume 3 of this comic? Well... And now we're going to move on to Hogg's headlines while I am still coherent. Dateline: will owners of beauty salons go nuts? Meet Jessica Yaniv. He is a transgender activist in Canada, and he is taking action against beauty salons that refuse to wax his male genitalia. Yes, Jessica, formerly Jonathan, has called up various salons in British Columbia, asking if they would wax his friends Peter, Ping, and Pong. The salons, who I'm guessing employ primarily women, have refused, much to their credit. Jessica was shocked by their refusal and has filed a complaint with the British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal. And in late July, the tribunal took up his case. The National Post had a description of the proceedings. A British Columbia Human Rights Tribunal hearing devolved into repeated outbursts and name-calling this week as it considered a transgender woman's complaint that a home-based salon discriminated against him by denying him a Brazilian wax. At one point, the complainant compared the business owner to a neo-Nazi. There's a surprise. The lawyer for the business owner accused the complainant of engaging in half-truths and fabrications. Tribunal adjudicator Devin Cousineau frequently had to interject to maintain decorum and to keep the hearing from careening off course. But a substantive question remained at the core of the raucous day-long hearing. Should a business be allowed to deny service on the basis of gender identity? Yeah, that's the key question, and not whether a woman should be forced to touch a man's schlong. Yaniv, the complainant, told the hearing he was entitled to receive the advertised wax service and that if the tribunal ruled against him, it could lead to a dangerous precedent. You cannot choose who your clientele is going to be, he said. Actually, yes, you can. So, inquiring minds want to know, did the tribunal take Jessica's case seriously? Of course it did. The member of the Human Rights Tribunal has also explicitly refuted that Yaniv's conduct is vexatious or that his complaints are frivolous. Quite the opposite. Waxing can be critical gender-affirming care for transgender women and men, the member wrote in a procedural decision in May. At the same time, it is a very intimate service that is sometimes performed by women who are themselves vulnerable. Yeah, just sometimes. JY's complaints raise a novel issue around the rights and obligations of transgender women and men, and service providers in these circumstances. Comedian Ricky Gervais noted the humor in the situation. And this case might be nothing more than amusing if, one, it didn't have such serious implications for the freedom of business owners to, actually run their businesses, and two, Jessica Yaniv wasn't a creep. Recently, accusations have surfaced that he harassed teenage girls online and in one case actually offered to share child pornography. Yuck. I have to wonder, are we in the end times? Okay, I'll put links to these articles in the description below. That's all for now. Have a very nice day.